Okay, so as you can see, I have the classroom set up. We have the environment station at the front, and at the environment station, we have three things. I'm going to go over to the board so you can see what they are. We have starch, and the starch is a yellow pipe cleaner. It's actually 3 pipe cleaners together. You also have the protein, which is 3 purple pipe cleaners together, and then when we break the starch down, we make glucose, and when we break the protein down, we make amino acids. So those will be single. The starch and the protein are too large to get into the cells, so you have to break them down. Then you have the green, which is the oxygen. So oxygen is already small enough to make it into the body. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this map for just a second. So in the classroom, at the front of the room, we have an environment station. If you are the person in your group, there will be 4 people in the group. Each one will have a responsibility. They will be the digestive system, the circulatory system, the respiratory system, and they will be one of these 3 cells, okay? So the digestive system is going to break down food and carry a single pipe cleaner to the small intestine. So you're going to be traveling back and forth right here, and you're going to be taking food, and I'm going to show you what that looks like in just a moment. Lungs, if you are the respiratory system, you're going to be traveling oxygen back and forth to the lungs. It's a very important job, and you need to make sure you get oxygen there and get food here so that you can supply these 3 cells with what they need. If you're the circulatory system, you're going to carry the molecules from the small intestine and the lungs out to the brain cell, the leg cell, and the arm cell. And you will need to communicate with the person that's at each one of these stations, okay? Remember we said there was a 4th person that was going to be one of the cells. You're going to need to communicate with the people at this station to find out what they need. Each one of their cards, and I'm going to show you what those cards look like, are going to tell you what they need to be able to survive. So let's look at these cards. First thing you have in your group is a role of the circulatory system. So you're going to need to take glucose, amino acids, and oxygen and pass them through the cell membrane. So you will have to break down the amino acid and the glucose and the oxygen because they're not small enough to make it through. So you'll take one molecule at a time and communicate if you need to find out what molecules that the cell stations need so you can make sure you get what they need. And you'll need to thread them through the cards when you get to the station. Now, digestive system, you're going to also take one food molecule from the environment station. Once you've selected a starch or a protein, untwist it, and then you're going to take it to that station. And I'll show you what I mean by untwisting. You'll pass it through the villi, which is part of the digestive system that the food needs to get into. The respiratory system, you're going to take one oxygen molecule, thread the single oxygen molecule through the alveoli card. There'll be a card with a hole in it at your station. You'll pass it through there, and you're going to get the oxygen to the respiratory system so that it can eventually get to these cells. The last person in your group is going to be one of these 3 cards. They will be either the leg cell muscle, and if you notice, in this leg cell muscle, there are directions. You need to collect 20 amino acids, pipe cleaners, 4 glucose, and 24 oxygen pipe cleaners to be able to make your leg muscle cells survive. So they're going to be signaling to you, if you're a runner, for the circulatory system, okay, traveling from the bloodstream out to these muscle cells, the arm cells, and they're going to communicate with you guys and let you know what they need. So this is the other one of the cells. It'll be the injured arm cell. This one needs 30 amino acids, 1 glucose molecule, and 6 oxygen molecules. And they have to signal that circulatory system as well to let them know that they need some molecules to be able to survive. Okay, and then the person that's at that location needs to retwist for each of these, retwist the 3 molecules back together. So there'll probably be more than one person at that station. So one can communicate and one can put them back together so that we can use it for the next class. Okay, then you also have the brain cell. In the brain cell, you need to collect 10 glucose molecules, 60 oxygen molecules for the needs of your brain. And you're going to make sure you signal that circulatory system, that person running back and forth, to help them to be able to do that. And you want to keep doing this until you reach your goal or time is called. So let's go over how you do this. So you will be able to take one molecule at a time. So you're going to take this molecule. This one's oxygen. So we're going to walk it over to the lung station. Okay, and you are going to pass it through the alveoli card. When you pass it through, we're going to enter it into the lung system. As you can see, I already put one here because it passed through the alveoli and made it to the lungs. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these purple pipe cleaners, and you have to break it apart. So as you can see, I already broke those 3 molecules apart, so I can take one at a time, and we don't need to go to the lung station because the lung doesn't need food, it needs oxygen. So we're going to go over to the small intestine. We're going to pass it through the villi, very carefully through this card, okay? So you'll pass it through the villi, and once you pass it through the villi, you're going to add it to the bucket that you have over here. So we pass it through the villi, like that, and it is now part of the small intestines, okay? And you'll have to do that for each piece of the purple, which remember is the amino acids. So you'll take the amino acids over there. Then you also have the yellow ones. They are in a 3 group as well. You'll need to break these down. Remember, these are starches. You break them down into glucose. So now that we've broken them down into glucose, they can travel over here to the small intestine, be passed through the villi, and put into the system. Okay? Once you get to this station, we're going to have a person back here at each one of these cell stations. We'll actually probably have 2 at each station, and they're going to request things. Remember we said on those cards that they need a certain amount of things? I'll remind you. You need so many of each things. So the person at the brain cell station, they're going to be requesting, and they're going to pass it through the cell membrane. So at the brain cell station, we probably need a little bit of food to keep us going, right? So we're going to take some of that food and we're going to pass it through there. So the person at this station will be responsible for that. The second person at this station will be responsible for taking the pipe cleaners as they come to you, okay, and twisting them back together and putting them back together. So when I say twisting them back together, it looks kind of like this. You just take the ends and you twist one right over to the top of the other one. So all I did is twist that one pipe cleaner on this side over the top to the other side, and we'll do the same thing to the other side. So you're just going to take that one pipe cleaner, you're going to twist it around the other side so it's easy for the next group to take apart. Okay, so we'll twist it a couple of times. There we go, like twice. Okay, and then it's back together. So we'll be ready to put it back when we need to. Okay. So hopefully this makes sense. I'm going to put this up on the screen for you. I'm going to actually put these 2 things on the screen for you. I'll pause the video here so that you can see both of these if you are to need them. I'm going to turn them a little sideways so you can see them better.